Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Paramindful. I am your co-host, Melball Collins. Over there, somewhere. We'll go there. Alex, the werewolf, and down there, the gold standard, Karl Karufel. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Really well. Had a
Good,
good day yesterday.
good to hear. And Karl, how are you doing today?
Life is good. Life is grand.
Yeah.
I got nothing in my hands.
Hey, I mean,
Except
that's a
for
good thing, right?
except for except for arthritis. Well, mine
Alex.
anyways. My hands hurt all the time.
Oh, you boys. It's always nice to get together and have some chit chats with you guys, especially lately. We've had some fun conversations to have.
Yeah.
This one is going to be no different, but before we get into our fun surprise topic that you already know about from the title of the video, let's get into our sponsors, Rogue Energy. It is designed to be the ultimate energy drink for you. Zero sugar, zero fillers, 5 calories, packed with essential vitamins, loaded with brain enhancing nootropics. That's a new word for me.
Nootropics.
Yeah, we have a fun video that has all of the fun flavors, one of which I tried the other day, the salted caramel latte. I finally tried one of the proteins properly with milk. It was
And
great.
yeah.
It's coconut milk, absolutely perfect. That caramel, kind of salted caramel, was a little salty with the sweetness of the coconut milk. So good, you guys. But we have a fun video lined up with all the flavors. Karl, take her away. What a fun video. I love rocking out to that one while no one can see me. If you guys want to
Oh,
get some rogue
everybody
energy,
can see you.
no one can see me. You
No,
can't
I'm
see
just
me.
kidding.
I'm John Cena. And if you want to get your hands on some Rogue Energy, go to rogueenergy.com. Use our promo code OLEPODS for a 10% discount. That being said, you guys, we're going to get into our fun topic, which is like fun, cute, trendy. She's fun anyway. I think it's a spooky creature because my opinion of these things are not necessarily the sunshine, lollipop, and like rainbows that everyone kind of thinks they are. We're going to be discussing mermaids today. Do we consider these a cryptid?
I would say so.
Deep sea
Like there's
cryptid, maybe?
there's whatever, there's anecdotes and people have seen things or they say they've seen them, but there's no real proof of it. So,
No.
although there
agree.
was this all came about because there's a video of some dude in the middle of the ocean on like a fishing trawler, and I mean I don't know how real the video was, but two things were like speeding right up by next to his boat. It didn't like bounce like dolphins or anything, but then there was also like almost like a weird. I know it's weird to say it, but a weird siren type call. Like it sounded like a siren, even though mermaids are considered sirens. So yeah, anyways. So that's where this started from, and then we're like, hey, let's just talk about this. It's kind of interesting. So
Yeah. Alex, taking like since you were the one who suggested it, what do
yeah,
you think that those like the mermaid creatures kind of are?
I have a hard time believing that they exist like we think they do. Um, I don't doubt that there's something living, some things, many things living in the ocean that we don't know about. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be like that half woman, half fish, or half dude, half fish. I don't think so. I don't know. If it's going to be anything, I think it's going to be more like, I don't know if you guys have seen Harry Potter or whatever, but there's the mermaids that live in the lake or whatever, and they're kind of like almost creepy looking. I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm kind of torn. I'm like on the fence, but like I don't discount that there's stuff in the ocean that we don't know about. I don't know if they would be like some smoking hot babe. You know what I mean? Half
With the shell
smoking hot
bra?
babe. Yeah, exactly,
Right.
exactly. So, but I mean that, like I said, there's the what do they call it? The aquatic. Is it aquatic mammal? No, there's lots of aquatic mammals. Whatever. There's some theory that's like an aquatic, like human type deal, but I don't know if I put much stock into that either. But yeah, what about you guys?
Carl, what do you think?
I think they are absolutely real. Just as Alex said, I mean, the ocean is so vast. The water that we have on this earth is so plentiful and so deep that, I mean, we still haven't been able to explore to the very bottom depths of it.
Mhm.
There could definitely be something that is there. Now, again, is it what, Disney has given us with The Little Mermaid? No. Is it
Yeah,
what Barbie has shown us with, mermaid power and the mermaid tail and the pearl princess and all of that? No, it definitely is not. Are they going to look more like sea creatures? Yeah,
yeah, I
100%.
think so.
I wouldn't doubt if they're going to look almost walrus like, let's say,
Ooh.
with that longer body with the fin
Yeah,
tail at the back, maybe not the,
yeah,
buck teeth, and the big horns that are on it in the front, but maybe it's a more sultry looking
yeah,
type of walrus creature that's out there. So I
Mhm.
can't discredit there being something like
yeah.
a mermaid. So I believe at right now, until I'm disproven that there isn't such a thing,
Right.
there is.
I just remembered it was the aquatic ape theory that there's some type of um, hominid type deal, part hominid, part fish, and I can kind of talk about that in a little bit. But there's kind of a
Mhm.
little bit of science going towards it. But
Mhm.
like I agree with Carl. I think that it's not going to be like a Mel with a fishtail. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be a little something hideous. Not, I guess maybe not hideous, but you would look at it and be like, well, that's not a whale. That's not a sea lion. That's not a walrus. What the hell is that, right? So,
Right.
I'm inclined to actually agree with both of you. I thought that my idea would be kind of way out there. Um, yeah, I agree that they something like them exists because there's so many stories that just go across such a long period of time for me to not believe that there is something like it
right,
existing in it. But I'm also inclined to believe that it is not. I mean, Disney has given me so many unrealistic expectations. With this movie
Right.
alone, like, don't even get me started on having, ass long hair and what it's supposed to look like in the water. Um, or when you do that elegant hair flip. Let me tell you, it's not elegant. She's just not cute.
I'm not doing any
Um,
hair flips anytime soon.
but yeah, I actually agree with you guys. I kind of feel like if these things do exist, which I do kind of believe that they do, it they're not gonna be she's not cute.
Yeah,
She's not going to be
yeah,
pretty, if she's living in the water all the time, when your skin is in the water for 20 minutes, she don't look cute.
right,
So, imagine being a creature that's humanoid like us living in the water 24/7. She going to be wrinkled. She like I imagine those like creepy looking angler fish from the
with the
depths.
light bulb
Oh,
one.
Yeah,
yeah.
where they're very
Yeah.
translucent. They're kind of
Oh,
like
gotcha. Yeah,
skinish. Their skin is kind of floaty
yeah,
boaty. It's kind of creepy.
yeah.
Their eyes are translucent. Even the teeth. I don't think that they have like kind of normal teeth. I think they'd have something kind of gangly, gnarly,
Something
creepy
they could
looking
grab on.
thing. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily
Yeah,
think they'd have hair because everything down there
yeah,
kind of evolves for purpose, right?
right.
The hair would not be purposeful.
And I
Um,
think like if I'm not mistaken, I mean I could be definitely wrong, but like most of this stuff, like oh she was beautiful, her hair was long, flowing, and red or whatever. Her chesticles were giant. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It all stems from um, sailors, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, they say, "Oh yeah, these guys were seeing manatees." I'm like, I don't know. If I saw a manatee and I hadn't seen a woman in 700 years, I'd still be like, that's not good looking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
And that also aren't a lot of the stories of these sailors coming from like a nighttime setting?
hmm
I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of them,
yeah,
like I don't think I've ever really heard of one being seen during the daytime. So it's like details on description probably not going to be like at that point, like, do I think
yeah,
that these guys saw something? 100%. Do I
yeah,
think it's as beautiful as they thought it was?
yeah.
Uh, no.
Well, if I can speak to that point, I wrote down a little like timeline here.
Okay,
So
go
they
ahead.
they have cave paintings from the Stone Age, so like 30,000 years ago,
Mhm.
of humanoid fish hybrids. There are the Aboriginal people of Australia. So like these are people who don't have internet and that. Well, I mean, I guess now they could have internet, but back then had no internet. There's no electricity or whatever. You know what I mean? So how would they be able to talk to the Chinese who also have the mermaid um, myth, I suppose? But
Mhm.
then if you go further, you get to like Greece, right? And
Mhm.
they have the sirens from a Homer's
Odyssey.
Odyssey. And the thing is, for the longest time, we were told, yeah, the Odyssey, it's just a work of fiction. However, now they're like, oh, wait a second, we just found, I don't remember what that city was, Troy, I think is what it was, but
Yeah.
now that's now they're starting to find that, oh, wait a second, some of this shit actually existed.
Shocking.
What else exists, right? So just the fact that it spans the entire globe from like 30,000 years ago
Mm.
to now, it's just, I don't know. We can't discount like people back in the day. I think I said this in the last episode or one of them, anyways. You can't discount people from back in the day.
Mm.
Everybody's like, oh yeah, this was their mythology. This was they believed it was a god. How do you know, first of all? But the second thing is they have to frame it in their frame of reference of 30,000 years ago. So they saw whatever, some creature swimming in the water that looked like half human. They're like, well, she must look like a fish on the other end, right? How else would she swim? You know, so
Mhm.
That's true. That's
it's
true.
not that these ancient people were dumb. It's not. It's just their frame of reference wasn't as expansive as ours, right? So I have the million different things right here. You know what I mean? I can everything from I could watch a Disney Mermaid, and I could go on to watch that stupid what's that Nature Channel mockumentary about mermaids or whatever. Like you can do anything. So our frame of reference, we can narrow it down a lot better than what they could back then, right?
Right.
Okay.
And I think to go along with your point there, I have a little bit of a list myself, just kind of where worldwide like a bunch of this stuff comes from. So like we're looking at
Oh, that's good.
medieval literature, Germanic literature, Scandinavian, Western Europe, Ottoman Greek folklore, Eastern Europe, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Indian, Southeast Asian, Polynesian, African, Arabian, American, like North American. So it's everywhere. And
Everywhere.
for that time, we have everything available for us to take a look at whatever we want, but they
Right.
didn't back then. And they're all claiming to see the same thing.
And to that point, most people think that mermaids are just in the ocean, or the theory is that they're just in the ocean. There are cultures that are inland cultures, landlocked cultures that have lakes where they still say the same thing. Oh, yeah, there are
Yeah.
creatures in there that are half human, half fish. And so if those landlocked guys are not talking to whatever the aboriginals of Australia, how are their stories lining up so perfectly, you know?
Oh yeah.
Very interesting. So it's safe to say that you guys both kind of think that they were kind of originally here and kind of evolved
That's my thought.
with
Um,
kind of everything else. Yeah.
I have, like I've mentioned earlier, I have something with kind of like kind of scientific-ish.
Ooh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I wrote it down here. Give me a second. I don't want to I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to say the wrong words here. But so human embryonic development, when the embryos develop and you become a human after whatever you're in the mother's womb and stuff like that. But they say that there are slits in the side of the necks of the embryos, and eventually they get grown over, whatever, right? They are supposed to, and I don't know because I've never seen one, and I've never compared, but they're saying that the slits and arches in an embryo are very, very similar to the gills and the arches on many fish gills. You know what I mean? Like they're very, very similar. And I was
Yeah.
just kind of thinking, like maybe it's like a distant remnant. You know, like I don't think that we came from a point A. Everybody came from point A, and you know what I mean. I think like maybe it was like it's spread out and then kind of like intermixed and stuff. So who's to say that we all came from mermaids or if we all came from big feet or whatever, right? It's
Right.
just an idea, you know. I just thought that was kind of cool because it's something that they don't really have an explanation for, but it kind of lends credence to the fact that we might have been water mammals at one point.
That's, I mean,
That's
that
frankly why
definitely,
I'm terrified of the water.
I mean, it definitely is interesting that you say that because if you do research and go back in time, you look at different maps from many, many years ago, the Earth, the globe, the world, whatever you want to call it, was more water than it was land
Mm-hmm.
for the
Yep.
longest time.
Mhm.
So definitely makes sense that the possibility that maybe humans were originally in the water and that
Right.
we evolved out of the water
Right.
and
Or some
you
type of
know,
human, you know, and then we
yeah,
evolve out and then we breed with big feet or whatever, you know, or a T-Rex. Maybe
yeah,
we bred with a T-Rex. Who knows?
hey, maybe.
You never know.
Oh goodness. Could you
What's your
imagine?
opinion, Mel?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense if we're talking about cave drawings and cavemen having seen these things and just the sheer vastness of the story. It does really make sense to me that it is something that was kind of here, and especially with the, our embryos, knowing that they kind of have those little gill things for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely kind of even lends like that natural evolution kind of idea that we emerged from the ocean and eventually spread out. Maybe some of us went back. I don't know.
I
Maybe.
just had a thought.
Oh.
So I'd also read it was a paper a long time ago, so I can't quote who it was, but it was a scientific paper, and they were talking about like the webbing between our fingers, how we have
Mm,
very little. Some people have a lot, but how we have very little. That had
mm,
to come from somewhere, you
it
know.
is
So,
true.
and I mean,
Yeah,
if you don't use it, you lose it, is what they say, right? So,
right. And then also people like naturally, a lot of people have this that natural urge to be in the water, to
in
be
the water, yeah,
swimming, to be, you
yeah, very
know,
comfortable, yeah, safe
yeah,
place, kind
maybe
of,
that's
yeah,
a genetic pull, as it were.
yeah,
I mean,
maybe.
I have it,
I
but
do.
like my desire to live and not be eaten by things is a
Yeah,
little bit
exactly.
higher.
Give me a swimming pool any day.
Yeah, please. That doesn't have anything else but people in it,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
because that would suck to have a crocodile in there randomly or something. Um, That being said, you guys, so now we kind of like feel like they're here. Most animal species have some kind of purpose. Either it's just survival, breeding, continuing the genetic line, whatever. Do we think that mermaids, that such as we think they exist, do we think that they have a similar purpose? Are they just kind of breeding to survive and stay alive, or do we think that there could be something kind of going on? Because again, we go back to these sailor tales where men were lured to the water's edge and then drug into the deeps, never to be seen again, or what have you. Um, are they just eating them? I think
I
that.
think so. I mean, if those stories are true, I think so. I think it's just kind of like a crime of opportunity, you know, where it's just like they're there, let's eat it, you know. It's much like a an orca, a killer whale, right?
Nom nom nom.
But like they've been known obviously to go after seals and stuff, but they've also been killing tons of great white sharks. And you know what I mean? Like it's just anything. It's a crime of opportunity, much like a polar bear, where if your territory is as expanse as like an ocean, think about if you see something that you can eat, you go, shit, I'm going full speed or no speed. I'm getting that thing. I'm gonna kill it as fast as I can so I can eat it. There's no sense in like a Komodo dragon, for example, where it bites you, and then like they just actually recently found out that Komodo dragons have venom, which I thought was
Mhm.
pretty cool. They always thought that it was just the rotten stuff in their teeth, and it was like then you would die from like sepsis and all that stuff. But anyways, they're notorious for biting, and if they can't catch you, whatever, like the deer or whatever, they'll just wait, and eventually that guy's gonna die, and they'll find them because of the smell, right?
Mhm.
Because they have that opportunity because they're on a small island of like the Komodo Islands, right? So if you're a polar bear, for example, and you're in the Arctic and you're like, shit, I haven't eaten in 3 months, I'm skin and bones. That's a pretty fat looking seal. I'm gonna get it. And that's why they're so vicious, right? So maybe it's like they see the sailor and they're like, well, I don't know, man. This is the first meal I've had in a long time, and I think it's gonna be the last meal for a long time. Maybe it's just it's not that they're evil per se. It's just like it has to be done. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Survival
They
Because
use
tactics.
habits.
yeah, it's like you wouldn't shoot a BB at a deer and be like, okay, I'm gonna wait until that BB goes through its blood system and then it affects its blood and then it falls down dead 3 months from now, right? You
Right.
I'm not a hunter, but I mean, you put your bullet wherever you put your bullet in a deer and it goes down. You're like, awesome, I got dinner.
And Carl, what do you think?
Um, I think it's again just a survival thing for them when it comes to like the luring and those things of the sailors and the siren calls even because some people attribute them to being that siren as well, right? And
Mhm.
Hmm.
that whole siren call and the beautiful noise that comes to lure them. I think it's all survival type of situations. What's their purpose and what are they here for? It's funny you asked that question because the other day I'm driving around to work and I'm going, I'm alive, and what is even my purpose? What am I here for? Right. So it's
The existential crisis.
right 100%. I
Yeah.
fell
Why do I
into it.
exist? Hundred
It's
percent.
been a very long time since,
Yeah.
but I was like, yep,
Yeah.
okay.
What am I
So
even
for me
doing?
to
What's
speak to
yeah?
what a mermaid's purpose is, I had no damn clue.
If I can speak to that with the siren call, I just thought of this. What if the siren call is just like their own like vocalizations, like the way they talk, much like these Sierra sounds are supposed to be what the big feet sound like, and
Okay.
Or
then
like whale calls.
yeah, like that's just how they communicate, right? Because like underwater, a high pitched thing is going to be like you could communicate easier, I'm assuming, but because sound waves in water
True.
travel differently than they do in air. But what if it's not actually luring dudes? It's like curious dudes who are wondering what that is. You know what I mean? It's just taken as being like, oh, they're trying to talk them into coming to the ocean. More like, what the hell is that noise? I'm going to see what that is. And they're just talking
Mhm.
about whatever. Hey, I see a guy on the shore or whatever. If he swims, let's get him, right? And he's like, oh my God, I'm going to go in the water and see what that is. I'm like, he's fucking
Mhm.
swimming here. Let's get him. So
Right.
maybe there's no connection to the two. Maybe one's just
Mhm.
kind of like a
Interesting.
natural interest, I guess.
So you talk about that and us as humans kind of going, the hell is that,
Yeah,
and being
yeah.
inquisitive and going down to the waters to
Super
see what
curious
this is,
creatures, yeah.
right? So a mermaid or a merman, I will include them in there
A
as well, which
mer
they
person,
mer person, whatever you
a
want to
a
call it,
merson.
they as well could even be seeing this human
Mm-hmm.
and going, what is that? And now
The
going
opposite,
over
yeah,
towards it and
Mhm.
going, shit, this is a threat because it doesn't look like me. I need to
yeah.
take care of this threat.
And I think that's the
Oh,
beauty. That's the beauty of us three here is that we're not afraid to think like outside the box is the colloquial, but I mean we're also thinking
Mhm.
from like a third person perspective. Like, why would this be happening on this end?
yeah.
it makes more sense that these guys are doing this, but what would these guys be seeing, you know?
Right.
So that's
I
a
have
good one.
another opinion that might kind of throw something in
Sure.
on that, and that's what if there isn't even a sound at all? What if it's the sound of the sirens? What if they're maybe a delusion? Because we are talking about sailors who have been at sea potentially for many days, many nights. Maybe they got some scurvy. Maybe they haven't, they got some cabin fever or something. Why
Right.
do I always think about the Muppets when I think about cabin fever?
Because we're old.
Now I got a movie to watch later. But like, what if, just throwing out there, what if they aren't even hearing something? Maybe it's they see something and they think that they're hearing something.
See, that would make sense. But then how is it the same kind of siren song that everybody hears? Like, oh, we
But
all
is there
heard the
like a
siren.
particular song that they're singing, or is it just like a
I
singing?
don't
Or
know. They're just saying that sounds like beautiful voices and stuff like that, but like no
because
discernible
like what I think is
words.
beautiful is definitely going to be different when Alex thinks is
For
beautiful. We
sure.
listen to very different music.
Like play some Devin Townsend or some Megadeth. I'm like, yeah, this is beautiful, you know.
Right?
But
But like,
but
could you
like
imagine if some beautiful woman's half fish, half woman coming out of the
right.
ocean? Just,
I know. Yeah, I'd be like, oh, she's mine. No, but
you would
what
yeet
I'm
yourself in there so
there
quickly.
you go. What I'm getting at though is like it's some of the stories are not just like one person hearing it. It's like
Mm,
everybody heard it, right? And I
it's
mean,
true.
it's
But there's
possible
also
it could be
group
like
delusions
what is
too,
that?
right?
ESP, not ESP, no, ESP, brain to
I
brain.
think, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
Telekinesis.
Well, yeah, whatever it is.
You're
Some,
better with words on that one, my guy. I
Yeah,
say holy boly.
but
Like,
you know what I mean? Like where it's like they can put thoughts and stuff. They can talk like through the mind and through the thought.
yeah.
Maybe that's what it
telekinesis?
is, but I don't remember telekinesis. I thought that was kinetic. I don't know. My brain is pretty tired. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I mean that makes 100% sense. Like if they see something, you'd be like, oh my god, and maybe they're just imagining it. But
Mhm.
I just playing devil's advocate, be like, well, what about those times when all of them hear it? You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then again, I guess you'd be like, oh my god, do you hear that beautiful music? And some guy who's drunk on whatever ale is just like, yeah, dude, it's awesome.
You never know. You
Right.
never
That's
know.
right. You never
Right.
know. So,
So that going looping back to the video that had started all of this.
hmm
Do we think that those were mermaids next to that ship? And the siren song was their kind of like, do we think that this is a legitimate video? Alex, what do you think?
Carl, have you seen the video, Carl? Or
I have not. I need to
Oh,
find
well,
it.
let's which is kind of good because then we get like a perspective of somebody who hasn't seen it.
that's
It's
true.
great. Well, let's assume that this video is 100% legit.
Mhm.
And what I heard in there was kind of like it was almost like a porpoise kind of noise. You know what I mean? Like a whale, dolphin, kind of like squeals, but it was like long, drawn out, and like,
And it changed pitch.
yeah. So, I mean, how I would describe it would be like a drone of a bagpipe almost, like a right. And I just do
Okay.
that because I am in fact a bagpiper, so that's kind of like where my mind goes. I don't know what travels that fast underwater that doesn't like dolphins are usually like up and down kind of thing and they'll come out of the
Mhm.
water sometimes, or if they're spinner dolphins they'll be spinning, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
That it looked very bizarre, but then again the magic of computers are pretty impressive. But that
Mm,
video looked like the guy just had his cell phone, he just kind of turned it. It wasn't, there was no clear signs of any sort of cuts or anything like that. And like at one point in time, he zoomed out and he's like, "What the hell is that?" And it's like as he's talking, the siren noises come. You know, it's very bizarre.
Mhm.
So I'd say it's possible. I just don't know what else it could be. But I don't want to go and be
Mhm.
like, "Oh yeah, it's definitely mermaids," because I don't know. I don't know anymore. It's so difficult to differentiate between like those clowns who make fake things, which I mean is definitely me because I make the thumbnails for all these videos too, right? So so I guess I'm a clown, but you know what I mean? It's just people are out there to try to confuse and obfuscate and stuff, and
Mhm.
Right.
that sucks because then you have to weed through the trash to kind of figure out what's going on. But
Mhm.
I would
Mhm.
like to think it's legit. I just don't know what it would be. But if we're gonna say that mermaids are legit and that video is legit, I think that's a pretty good possibility.
Mhm. Mhm. With myself, looking at that video, we were discussing it a little bit privately. I'm not. I know, like the only thing that I could think of that could swim that quickly, kept up with a ship like that, would be a shark. But they're not known to travel that close to the surface
Right.
and for
And
that long of a distance.
when you like when Carl, when you see it, you'll see it's just like they keep kind of like roughly the same distance away from the ship. It's not like a shark that would kind
Yeah,
of like go around and kind of like swim around. You know what I mean?
but they're not
Okay.
It's
quite breaking the surface either.
yeah, it's like just skimming underneath, and you can see something, but you
Yeah,
don't know what it is. And that's why I'm like, it doesn't make sense that it would be a dolphin because dolphins don't tend to
because you
like
can tell
any.
it's moving like side to
Yeah,
side to propel
any.
itself as opposed to up and
Yeah,
down.
anytime I've
Right.
seen a dolphin on the side of a boat, sure they do kind of swim beside, but then they'll also jump out. They'll also play, right? And I
Yeah.
just think that's kind of interesting. So, and like I said, I don't know where this was filmed. I don't know how far out he was. I don't know if it was in the middle of the ocean. I don't know if it was in like the Bering Strait or if it was in the whatever, the Bay of Fundy, or you know what I mean? Who knows, right? So,
So I had actually come across another video, and unfortunately, I had a moment where my Facebook decided to refresh my feed, and I
assholes.
lost the video before I could send it to
Mm.
you guys.
Thanks,
But it was
Meta.
another video that looked very similar to this one, and the guy speaking on it, I don't know dialects very well, but he sounded Russian to me.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that doesn't necessarily narrow it down because, like,
Yeah, no.
people who
But
speak Russian could be on very random
the
places in the
guy
middle of nowhere.
the guy from the video, Carl, that me and Mel were talking about, I think he's black, I think,
He
or
did sound, yeah.
half black, half white, something. He definitely wasn't like a full Caucasian. He wasn't Russian.
No.
And I mean, maybe this is like a prejudice of mine, but I always take the Russian films and like the crazy Chinese films. I always take them with a huge grain of salt because
Mhm.
Right.
some of the stuff that they show, you're like, come on, really? Like a dragon came out of this manhole and ate a police car. You're like, pretty sure that'd be on like
Wow.
local news, you know?
That's a feat.
So
Right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, and
I don't know.
also we
There's
got to
just
remember, like I've seen a few of the Chinese beliefs and the things that are in the ocean, and they're equally as terrifying. Something we'll
for
probably have
sure,
to touch on
for
at
sure.
some point. There's also a possibility if those things exist, and if, again, as Alex said, if we're saying that this video is legit, is it possible that it could also have been one of those other creepy creatures of
hmm
legend that are potentially
Yeah.
in the ocean that we would like to stay
And like I
in
said,
the ocean?
we don't know if he was in the ocean even, you know. He could have been on whatever Lake Huron, you know.
Yeah.
I haven't I haven't
He
dug
could
in
have
super deep
encountered Cthulhu for all we know.
100%. But
Right.
I haven't dug into where this was filmed, so I can't say if it's like cuz I mean obviously whatever if it was in a Lake Huron or Lake Michigan or
Mhm,
whatever,
mhm,
there's not going to be like a blue whale or something, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's it kind of it changes your options depending on where you are. So
mhm. The sea also looked like the water looked a little choppy, a little rough, so
yeah,
it also
that's
could
why
have
I
been in a
think
storm.
it was like a large body of water because it was
Yeah.
black as ink. Like
Oh,
there
so
was
black.
no signs of light on the horizon or anything. It was just black. It was just the lights of this
Mhm.
guy's fishing
Yeah.
trawler. So
I mean, I've done some sailing on Lake Ontario, though. If you sail out enough, even on that
yeah,
one, there are points where you can not
right.
see anything but
But
the lights. But yeah, no,
is that
the choppiness does not get that bad unless there's a
Right.
storm.
is that the largest of the Great Lakes? Because I mean they
Yeah,
call them the Great Lakes because it's effectively a giant ocean, right? So
essentially, yeah,
well,
yeah.
I mean give or take, but you know what I mean. It's that large that the storms and stuff do get created on it, and things do get choppy. You know what I mean? It's just it
Mhm.
acts much like a large body of water, like the ocean, right? So
Yeah.
So I had an interesting thought, a conversation with a friend of mine about mermaids the other day because she was terrified about the orcas in the kind of, I believe it's the Portugal, Spanish kind of coast there. Have you guys heard about what's happening with these orcas?
No,
No.
go on.
They're apparently targeting boat propellers and the motors of the boats so that the boats are then stranded and they are then attacking the boats. My friend had a theory. I don't share her idea with this theory, but she had a theory that because she loves mermaids, believes 100% they exist, and that they're more. She thinks they're more the Disney style mermaid than the creepy style mermaid that we have,
Okay.
and she thinks that they are educating the orcas here to attack the motors. And she thought this because there was research done on the orca in that area, and they actually found that a lot of the pods in that area are actually so, what is the word? Why did it just escape me? Inbred. They're so inbred that the orca are actually essentially the Down syndrome version
The
of
messed
orca.
up brains. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she thinks that mermaids are coming back Aquaman style. They're mad about what's happening in the ocean, and that's just that these mermaids are starting to teach aquatic life how to muck about with the stuff that we think is our privilege to put in their ocean. Carl, what do you think about that?
So if I get this correct, you're saying that we have global warming activist mermaids that are teaching whales in the ocean how to stop boats from going to save the ocean waters.
Essentially, yeah.
Hey, everybody can dream, right?
I mean, stranger things have happened on this planet, haven't they?
They definitely have. I mean, is it a possibility? Sure. 100%. It definitely can be a possibility. I have no issues saying it could very well be. Do I think it is? No. No,
I
because just like everything else evolves. And for how long have we had these boats in the waters? Well, I think the orca whales are going to kind of evolve enough to understand, hey, this thing that keeps moving around, as soon as it stops, the boat stops. Oh, wait, it's moving again. And then I think that they're evolving, maybe not that they're being taught
Oh,
how to do it.
I don't know what I'm comforted more by in that situation. Because, like, why would they want to stop my boat? Please don't eat me. Are they
I
expanding their killerness to us?
I
Maybe it
have
killed Nemo.
I have an answer to that, to be honest with you.
Oh,
First of all, I sent the that video in the chat that we have, so if you
okay.
guys
Oh,
wanted to
awesome.
quickly check it out. But it's actually a YouTube short, which is brilliant, so you don't have to watch like an hour of
Perfect.
video. Anyways, um, killer whale or orcas, as the Inuit will call them, or the whatever the BC indigenous people, very vindictive. Um, as evidenced by the orcas that are in like SeaWorld and stuff. And remember, I don't know if you guys remember, there was like a rash of like SeaWorld employees or people who were dealing with orcas who were seriously hurt and killed by orcas
Yeah.
doing things that seemed very planned and orchestrated.
Mhm.
It's not uncommon for a whale, or sorry, a killer whale. I shouldn't say whales because lots of different types. Killer whales, if they are injured by something or they are in a pod of a whale that is injured by something, to attack that something a lot. So there are two, for example, there are two killer whales. I don't remember if it's off the coast of South Africa or something. Anyways, they've been attacking great white sharks and just chewing right at their kidneys or their livers or whatever it
The
was,
liver, yes, I
and then
heard of that. Yeah.
leaving it. And it's just because the theory is that one of their pod members was killed by a great white and they're getting every last one of them that they can. So maybe, a speedboat or whatever hit one of their orcas or hit a baby orca or whatever it was. Maybe that baby didn't die, but now it's like let's get them all. Fuck these guys, you know. That's just my like. That's how I can rationalize that. But I
Right.
have seen it.
Suddenly I feel like I found my spirit animal.
I have seen a video though of, I don't remember where it was. Maybe it was Spain. Um, it was killer whales, and this woman had like this boat, but it wasn't. It was like a flat deck boat almost. She was fishing, I believe, and a sea lion jumped up on her ship, kind of like, or on her boat to get rid of or get away from the orcas, and then the orcas started attacking the boat, even though they know, like, obviously it's like it's not the sea lion or the whatever seal or whatever it was, but
Mhm.
they were attacking the boat, and she's like, no, 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 please, please, no, oh my god, and then she's trying to get the sea lion off of the ship. So it's pretty cool, but
Wow.
they are super smart, and I think we take them for granted. We always like, oh yeah, dolphins are super, super, super smart. They are, but like what these killer whales are showing is pretty ingenious. So like even the way they hunt things, like one will go underneath an ice, I guess you could call it an iceberg, an ice flow portion, whatever, where seals are, and they'll just lift it up with their nose and just kind of like go up and down, so it kind of wobbles back and forth, and they fall into the ocean, so the
Yeah.
other ones can eat them. Right? It's just they're very methodical. They're very smart. Very good hunters.
Reason number 1293 why I don't go in the freaking water.
Things with teeth.
We don't want to mess with those. I think we've kind of wrapped up all of our topic points here on this interesting little oceanic cryptid we have here. Karl, do you have any final thoughts on the mermaid phenomena?
Just if you guys do encounter one yourselves or have any evidence of mermaids, we would love to actually hear it. Make sure that you're sending us an email with the information, with video, with text, with whatever you've got. And it's super simple and easy. It's paramindful@gmail.com. Send us whatever you have on mermaids, mermen, merpeople, merfolk, whatever you want to call them. Send it over to us because we would love to see it as well.
Yes, please. Alex, do you have any final thoughts on the mermaid person phenomenon?
I have so many ideas and thoughts, and I think it all just boils down to, we can't think that we're the smartest things out there. We can be one of the smartest things, but much like if you were the greatest fighter in the entire world, there's always going to be somebody that can beat you no matter what. And maybe the guy who can't beat Karl can beat me, but I can beat Karl. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. We think that we're the smartest and the most powerful, and we have no idea. We have no idea. The only difference between us and a dolphin, otherwise, like, other than like I have arms and things like that, we have harnessed fire, but what have they harnessed? You know what I mean? Like, they have brains that are twice as big as ours. It's just insane, you know? So I don't
You've
think we
harnessed the
should.
water, sir.
Well, obviously, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I can swim as well, right?
That's
So
true.
really, the difference is I can start fire with a lighter. And I mean, I'm sure if you looked at it further, you could find more, but I mean, that's just one piece of power. What other power is there? You know what I mean? So I think that we take for granted that we are smart, and I think that we're very jaded to think that we are the smartest thing. And much like the aliens, right? It's just, oh yeah, well, nothing can exist in the skies, blah blah blah. Surprise, fuckers.
We looked up.
Yep. Yeah. So that's just my opinion. Is I think that we think we know everything, but we know nothing.
I think overall we can get out of this conversation is that we don't think they're pretty. No,
Yeah,
Disney has given us some unrealistic expectations
I think so.
on what mermaids truly are, but it appears that the singing and the I'm going to assume the survival, because that's all they kind of were doing in the Disney
Right.
movies at that point,
Yeah.
having parties and singing songs under the sea. Yeah, they seem to. If we think they exist, they seem to exist just the same as we do, just kind of
Yeah.
eating,
Yeah.
swimming, just doing their thing. Hopefully, unbothering us for
Yeah,
as long as possible. Because goodness, we don't need another thing mad at us on this
truth.
planet.
That's the truth. Yeah.
And that being said, I think we're going to start to head out here. If you guys want to follow Melball, I will put all of my ish right here. It's at that X thing at Collins Melball, and everything else is Melball Collins. Alex, if the people are wanting to find you, where are they going to find you?
Werewolf at the Movies and Witchy Cannon on YouTubers. And then I got something else in the
Yay.
works, but it's taking a while to iron it out. So
And we will
Yeah.
get him on Instagram eventually.
I have it, but just don't do much.
And Karl, if the people are wanting to follow your sultry voice, where can they find you?
Right here.
Yeah.
I have my link tree, linktr.ee/Karl Karufel.
Yes, I believe we cannot put any links in our description anymore, but if you go to our main channel, you can find all of the links to all of our stuff in the main description of the channel. Karl,
no
I
more
believe you
links?
have something else to show the beautiful people about some of our Paramindful Spooky-Ooky stuff.
Yeah, if anybody is wanting a little bit of merchandise, you can always check out the Redbubble account right there. All things Spooky-Ooky-Ish. Scrolling down below is the link. karlkarufel.redbubble.com is going to give you a little bit of Paramindful merchandise. And if Alex wants to, he can still send me over some other things when he has the time to.
Yeah.
And we
I
can
got to
get some
design some
more.
stuff.
Yeah,
gotta
we can
design
get
some
some
stuff.
more Paramindful merchandise on that site for you as well. But for now, you've got the logo merchandise that is available for you.
Yay!
Awesome.
Love our little ghosty guy there.
That's pretty awesome.
And that being said, Alex, do you have anything else to say to the beautiful people before we get out of here?
Don't swim in the deep side of the pool.
Well, thank
That's
you
all
for
I got.
that, sir. Now I'm
No.
terrified.
just be safe and love one another.
And Karl, do you have anything else to say to the beautiful people?
Love you all.
Yay!
Over
We
to you,
love
Mel.
you too, Karl. And that being said, everyone, I am your Melball. Over there is Alex, and down there is Karl Karufel. We will see you next time. Keep her spooky.